Hello and welcome to another video, and today we're doing a Q&A. Boy! Ow! Oh, that really hurt. If you're still wondering, yes, my shoulder is most definitely still injured. Note to self, don't do that again. Yeah, so today we're doing a Q&A because I want to, and it's my channel and I can do what I friggin' want. Like if I want to make a video called I moved to Gibraltar and married a horse, then I'm gonna do it. I mean, that's probably almost certainly not going to happen, but just saying hypothetically I could do that, right? So bear in mind. So yes, today is going to be a Q&A. I put a post on my Instagram story a couple of days ago asking for questions. I got friggin' millions, so thanks as always for that, guys. I spent like 3 hours in the gym, like trawling through them, didn't get to the end, so it's a pretty solid question response. If you are sat there thinking, Matt, I did not see anything on your Instagram story, that means you're probably not following me on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, what in God's name are you doing? Go and follow me now at Mattdoesfitness, almost certainly, and by almost certainly I mean definitely 100% the best Instagram account in the world. Anyway, as is the case with all my videos, today is going to be friggin' sick, it's going to be loads of fun, it's going to be incredibly entertaining. So before we start, I'm going to ask for two small things in return. Firstly, you drop this video a like, and secondly, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thirdly, feeling generous, you can go and enable notifications, but it's not compulsory by any means. Let's get started. Okay, we're in. Now, as standard Mattdoesfitness Q&A practice dictates, I'm going to be setting a timer on my phone. I'm going to go for 20 minutes, so that is my new kind of go-to time preference. I used to do 15 minutes, but I feel like, why would you not go for longer? Like, it makes more sense, it caters for more people. That way, if you get to like the 10-15 minute mark and you're bored, you can just stop watching, although that's not gonna happen. Like, you're gonna get to the end of the video and you're gonna cry and you're gonna re-watch the video like 15 times. But if you want more of the Q&A, then you can obviously just keep watching. That way, everyone's a winner, you know? Now, in terms of the questions themselves, I've skimmed through them, like I said, in the gym, but I haven't actually properly read them and thought about my responses. I find it better that way. I think it's like a more kind of raw, you get more kind of genuine responses from me rather than like, you know, scripted ones, because that's what most sit down talking videos are like. So I feel like it's kind of more entertaining. Yeah, so timer is going to be set. Timer has been set. OMG, questions are going to begin. First question is from Damien T. Beaver. What supplements do you use? Damien, that is a good question. Thank you. Probably gonna use as my video title, so much appreciated, Mr. Beaver. Mr. Beaver. Right, supplements. I will run through the supplements that I use, and then I'll give you my advice on what you guys should use, because I get asked about supplements like so frequently, probably one of my, like maybe my top 3 most frequently asked questions. I get it all the time, and I've been meaning to make a video on it and I just haven't got around to it, so this will be a good way for me to address it, hit 2 birds with 1 stone, one friggin' massive bird killing stone. So I take whey protein, I take creatine, and I take a few vitamin type things. So I take like an alpha male, which is like basically like a multivitamin for men. I take omega-3 fish oils, and I take glucosamine. That's like a legacy from I used to do track and field, like lots of long jump and triple jump. My joints took a hammering, and glucosamine in my experience is the best way to kind of deal with that. Now, all of those supplements I get from My Protein. There is a link to My Protein in the description right at the top of it. Their stuff is friggin' sick, and more importantly, it's friggin' cheap. So if you want to pick up some supplements, go and use my link. We automatically become best friends. Everyone's a winner. Now, in terms of what you should do and what I would recommend, let's run through the big 3. So the main 3 supplements from what you will see online and what other people take and what is just kind of most prevalent in this industry are protein and creatine and BCAAs, right? They're the ones that everyone talks about. Now, in terms of protein, do you need it? Technically, no, right? You could get all the protein you need from your diet. However, there are a couple of issues with that. Firstly, it can be expensive, like getting enough meat is obviously going to be expensive. If you are like a vegetarian or a vegan, obviously meat is not an option. It's going to be really, really hard to get your protein from just, you know, food alone. Particularly if you are a bodybuilder or you're a bigger guy and you have like a higher protein requirement. Try and eat all your protein from just meals alone is going to be a massive ball ache. So it's just mainly the convenience factor. It's much, much easier. On top of that, it's cheap, right? You can get a friggin' enormous like 5 kilo bag of protein from My Protein for like 50 quid. Again, link in the description. Just makes it much cheaper than spending all your money on food and sitting there all day just eating food to get your protein in. Moving on to creatine. Creatine, do you need it? Again, technically no, like, but that's like saying, you know, do you need clothes? You don't, like, you could just spend your life naked, but you'd be a weird pervert with no friends apart from like one weird old pervy man. So you don't need clothes, but probably recommend you get them. Same with creatine, right? Think of creatine as your clothes. Like, you don't need them, but they're pretty handy. Like, creatine is by far the most evidence-based supplement on the market. Like, basically there is loads and loads and loads of research that shows it works, because it does work. It basically will just make you stronger and slightly bigger, and it will improve your ability to recover pretty much overnight. On top of that, it's so cheap. You can get like 6 months worth for like 20 quid. So you'd basically be pretty stupid not to take it. Now, a small minority of people don't respond to it so well, but the vast majority of people will respond to it. They will get really, really good results. Like I said, it's so easy, it's so cheap, and there are no side effects. Right? Lots of people will say, oh, you know, you get kidney issues or you get dehydrated or whatever. Like that's a myth. All the research shows there are no serious side effects. Like, it's not going to do anything to you. You take 5 grams a day. By the way, that's another big myth, is about like loading it and cycling it and coming off it and coming on it. All you have to do with creatine is take 5 grams, so that's 1 small scoop, once a day at roughly the same time. Doesn't really matter when you take it. There is some evidence that shows taking it with protein can be beneficial, but to be honest, it's not a big deal. Like, I personally take 5 grams a day every night with my protein shake, and that's it. I've done that for, I think, going on like 4 or 5 years now. It's just a really, really easy and really cheap thing to do, so I would definitely recommend you do that. And then in terms of BCAAs, I would put those below the 2 I've just discussed there, in basically because you don't need them. Okay, so you can get the branched chain amino acids, you will get those in your diet. The only time I would say to take them is if you are cutting. If you're on like a real low number of calories, it may be harder to get all your BCAAs you need from your diet. On top of that, if you are a vegan or a vegetarian and you're not getting meat, because most BCAAs, like, you get a lot of BCAAs in meat. I mean, you have to eat a huge amount of meat to get the amount you need, but you will get them in meat. Obviously, as a vegan, vegetarian, you will not be getting that meat. You can get them elsewhere, but it's going to be much easier for a non-vegan, non-vegetarian. So if you are in a calorie surplus and you eat a pretty, you know, substantial diet, you don't need to take BCAAs. Bringing out, that was a long answer. Right, next question. Chris.d. That is not a real name. What are you doing? Hi Matt, loving the content. Thanks, bro. I'll take it back. Your name's brilliant. When did you first start going to the gym? But I'll accept it. I started going to the gym, I think when I was like 17, like in sixth form at school. Like I started going kind of like with a couple of mates very sporadically. It wasn't until I started doing athletics seriously at the age of, I guess, 18 that I started going more consistently. But at that time I was just doing like squats and plyometrics. It wasn't real, like, I didn't start properly bodybuilding until, I guess, like my early 20s. Quinn Laura Schiller. What are these names? Can you just have normal names like Stephen Brown? Why RPE and not percentage? So I'm assuming you mean in terms of like your working set. So you can use percentage based work like this, you know, it's fine. The problem with that, so by the way, this means like, so for example, if you had 5 sets of 5 for a bench press, you could do it at like 80% of your 1 rep max, or you could do it at like an RPE 8, for example, right? It's just a different way of like measuring and gauging your working sets. Now, the advantages of doing an RPE is that it allows for feeling better or feeling worse. Like if someone says to you, you have to do this set at this percentage, so they're giving you a number, right? They're saying you have to do this set at this number, and if your program is like 12 weeks long, someone is saying to you, in 11 weeks you're going to hit this number. Now that's quite hard to predict how you're going to be feeling in 11 weeks time. You know, you might have had a bad night's sleep, you might be a little bit under the weather, so percentages don't allow for that kind of leeway. Whereas if you have an RPE, although again it is a guide, it gives you a bit more freedom. So if you're feeling really good on that day, you can kind of push it a little bit more and go a little bit heavier. If you are feeling a bit crappy, a bit ill, you can kind of rein it in a little bit and go a little bit lighter. It just gives you a little bit more flexibility. With that said, I feel like RPE favours more experienced lifters. If you are a bit of a newbie and newer to the gym, then a percentage-based program is going to work better for you because you're not going to have as good an understanding of where your RPE is, you know. Alfu_08, what camera setup do you use? I use a Canon 80D, I'm staring at it as we speak, and then right now I've got a Samyang lens, which is it's like a really wide one. It's a 2.8 and it's a 14mm lens. That's what I currently use, and then like a little Rode, I forget what it's called, little Rode mic, the little tiny like Rode Mini. It's like the small one that looks a bit like a dead grey old hamster's been stuck. It looks like Gary Lineker's turned into a hamster and it's been stuck to the top of my camera. Jack Larkin, what could you bench at 17? I don't even know if I was benching at 17, and if I was, it would have been pretty bad. I remember the first time I benched was probably around the age of 16, 17, and I was literally like, it was the wobbliest thing. It was like I was benching with my eyes closed underwater whilst skydiving. I think I remember hitting like an 80 kilogram bench at the age of maybe 17, 18. So yeah, probably around 80 kilos, but it wasn't anything impressive. Ollie_Limblad, bench, squat, and deadlift PRs. My bench press PR is 180 kilograms with a pause, just adding that in there. My squat PR is 265 kilograms, back when I was a big fat powerlifter. And then my deadlift PR is 310 kilograms, but little disclaimer, I got 320 kilograms about an inch from lockout and held it in my hands for like 3 hours, but couldn't knock it out. So in my brain, I've just altered my memory, so I've hit 320, which is like over 700 pounds, but technically for the friggin' statos out there, it's 310 kilograms. A timid egg. Can we be friends? No, because you've spelt friends with a Z. Peter Vaughan _ what did you use to teach? I used to teach PE. I was a PE teacher at a secondary school. Based on your question, I would say you need to experience more teaching because you can't friggin' spell / use grammar. Kevin Brown 1, how many men have you kissed on the lips? Well, there was your dad, so that's 1. That's it. MJ.story, ever thought about competing in physique / bodybuilding? Yeah, I mean, I have thought about it. So basically, when I started bodybuilding, which was like just over a year ago now, I said categorically in videos as well, like, no way in a million years would I ever compete. It was the last thing I wanted to do. It didn't appeal to me at all. I'm still saying I almost certainly won't, but just recently, it's been a tiny bit of my mind that's thought, would I do that? Like, it would be quite interesting to get super shredded. I'm still saying it's unlikely. I just think it would just suck. Getting that lean, like I can get lean, I can be lean, but getting like, you know, stage shredded would just suck. I like food so much, I think it would really struggle, but there is a tiny bit of me that's thinking, nah, it's a possibility. Javan Rayev, is it bad doing cardio while building muscle? No, it's not bad. It's good. Technically, it's good for your health. Like, doing cardio all the time is good because it makes you a healthier person. It will probably prolong your life expectancy. However, when trying to build muscle, you need to be in a calorie surplus. If you are doing cardio, it's going to make being in a calorie surplus harder. So you can do cardio, but just make sure you increase your calories to allow for that, to keep you in a surplus, to make sure you are still gaining weight. Plus, make sure it doesn't interfere with your training. Obviously, you know, your weight training, your resistance training is going to be your priority in terms of building muscle. So don't do loads and loads of cardio before you train. Don't do like a huge amount of HIIT training in and around your training, because that's going to interfere with your performance in the gym and your recovery. So as long as you're clever about the way you do it, then there's no reason why you can't do cardio and still build muscle. Yip93, how can you look that good while eating all that junk? How high are your maintenance? Okay, I'll do a favour, mate. So how can I eat all that food and still look good? Right, so 2 issues here. Now, you obviously talked about maintenance there, or you meant to talk about maintenance. So firstly, yes, my maintenance is high. It's not as high as it used to. I used to have a freaky high like maintenance calories. I could eat like 5,000 calories and not gain weight. That's a little bit lower now because I haven't bulked for a long time. I'd say my maintenance now is more like 4, maybe 4,500 calories at a push. So I can still eat more than the average person and not gain weight. Plus, I don't put body fat on my abs, so I can have a relatively high body fat compared to the average person and still have a fairly visible abs like I am right now. Plus, even though you see me eat a lot of junk food, that I just typically film that stuff. Like if I was having like a boring, you know, meal in an average day, I wouldn't film that because it's just, you know, who wants to see that? 1987_Anthony, any advice about the rest time period between sets of heavy compound exercises? The more the better. If you're doing heavy compound lifts, heavy working sets, literally within reason, the more recovery you can be bothered to have, the better. Like if you have, back when I was powerlifting, I would sometimes have like 7-8 minutes between my heavy working sets because it took me that long to recover. Like bear in mind, if you're doing lower rep sets, let's say if you're doing like 5 singles or 5 doubles or triples, you may not feel fatigued. You may feel like you're ready to go, but your central nervous system is still going to be fatigued. So make sure you have enough recovery. The key thing, I guess, is to make sure you are progressively overloading your training. So just give yourself enough recovery to enable you to beat what you did last week, to accumulate more volume and then ultimately get stronger. But as a general guide, at least 3 minutes, and sometimes up to, like I said, 5, 6, 7, even 8 minutes if you need it. Mepstein 1, if you were to go on steroids, would you be honest about it? Yes, I definitely would, because like it's sick content. Like if I was taking steroids, that would give me so many friggin' awesome clickbait videos to make, so I certainly would. Would I go on steroids? No, for a plethora of reasons. Like the first one being, my wife would definitely divorce me. Secondly, I mean, to be honest, ignoring like the potential like health risks and side effects, it's more just if you start taking steroids, you're going to get bigger and you're going to get stronger. But then where do you go from there? You know, like unless you're going to take steroids for the rest of your life, which who wants to do that, then at some point you're going to come off steroids and you're going to get smaller and you're going to get weaker and it's going to be friggin' depressing and you're going to give up training and become a Siberian monk living in a bunker. So it's just not something that appeals to me. Asmil Fikri 9. Sometimes when I do bench presses, I don't feel it in my chest. I only feel it on my biceps. On your biceps? What are you doing? Are you bench pressing upside down? Like, that is very impressive. But feeling a bench press in your biceps is an incredible effort, to be fair, mate. But my advice would be just stop training because you have some serious mechanical issues there. Nate Van Rooy, how to work around tennis elbow. Okay, that sucks. Like tendon-based issues, tendinosis, tendinitis-based issues friggin' suck because there is not a big blood supply in your tendons. So because of that, for that reason, there's a couple of things that are really important. So if you have serious tendinosis, tendinitis, then you need to rest initially to give it some chance to recover. But with that said, if you just rest and you do nothing for a long period of time, when you come back to that activity, the chances are the issue is going to be there again for two reasons. Firstly, because it's probably a mechanical error, so you're probably doing something wrong with your technique. So firstly, fix your technique. And secondly, because there is not a lot of blood supply, when you do nothing, there isn't much blood flow going through it. It takes a long time to heal. If you do a little bit, just enough to help stimulate some healing and the adaptation without going too far that you make the injury worse, that's going to be optimal in terms of healing that problem. So what I would recommend is just give it a little bit of rest and then start from scratch and build it up super slowly. Be really patient and make sure your technique is absolutely spot on. Grayson Kembell, for powerlifting, what is the optimal frequency for all three lifts? That is like, how long is a piece of string, right? There are world record holders in the squat who squat once every 2 weeks, and there are world record holders in the squat that squat 7 days a week. There is no optimal frequency, it depends on the individual. All I will say is that you want to make progress on the least amount of frequency, the least amount of volume possible. So basically, if you can get stronger by squatting once a week, then do that. Don't do any more than that. Just increase it slowly over time as and when you need to. Frankie Arkwright, ever thought about going vegan or vegetarian? Yes, to be honest, a little. I haven't thought in the sense that, oh, I might do that. I don't think I'll never go vegan. Vegetarian, probably not. Like, so firstly, I'm talking about me, like from selfish reasons here. In terms of the environment and like life and health and stuff, being a vegan, in my opinion, is undoubtedly better. Like, it's better for everyone. It's definitely better for your health. However, I've tried being a vegan for a day and it sucked. I think it depends where you live. If you live in certain parts of America, for example, it'll be easier because there's so many vegan options. Where I live, there is like basically nothing. So I'd be like cutting out 90% of my diet and it would suck. I love food, I love eating certain things, and I would not be able to handle not eating those types of foods every single day. It would just suck. Being a vegetarian, I don't even love meat that much. I'm not that fussed about meat. Like, I probably go without eating meat for a while. So in terms of preferences, I wouldn't mind. It's more just trying to get protein. If I was trying to get all my protein without eating meat, it would just make things a lot harder. So again, in terms of convenience and for selfish reasons, no, I'm almost certainly never going to go vegetarian or vegan. 98 BDM 98, what's your current workout routine? I'm currently running like a hybrid plan. So I basically am fusing powerlifting with bodybuilding. I'm trying to get... That is rude, if you don't mind, you stupid piece of technology. As I was saying, I'm trying to get as big as I can whilst getting as strong as I can in the main lifts. Now, you can actually run my exact training program if you want to. So if you're wondering what my program is, or you think, oh, Matt's program looks good, or Matt looks sick, I'd like to do his program, you can do that. If you look in the top link in the description, you can sign up to my hybrid V2 plan and you get my exact training program. There are also other options there, so you can get any of those programs there. You get a fully customized training program, you get a fully customized diet plan, you get to join my private Facebook group, you get to become my best friend and come to my secret underground naked pool parties. There's an endless list of good benefits for doing that. So yeah, top link in the description, sign up, just go and do it. And on that weird note, I'm gonna end the video because I've answered loads of questions. The timer has gone and I'm quite hungry and I need to train at some point today. So I sincerely hope you enjoyed, guys. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Like I said at the start, subscribe to my channel. And if you want to be feeling generous, you can enable notifications too. And I will see you tomorrow.